So, good evening, all. Welcome to you all on this lecture series on pharmacy practice, which we are going to start today, the fourth session of it, and it is very significant due to one of the purpose, which is the drug safety. Pharmacovigilance Program of India is going to celebrate the National Pharmacovigilance Week, fifth National Pharmacovigilance Week, from 17th to 23rd of the September this year. And as we, one of the ADR monitoring center by PVPI, Indian Pharmacopoeia Commission, they monthly we are reporting out 80 to 100 ADRs as ICSS. So today's session is going to be very interesting. And good evening to you all, and my sincere acknowledgement to the management director, principal, HODs, staff members, participants, and all the students. So welcome to you all once again to ISF College of Pharmacy. And I would like to also thank my technical team, Dr. Abhishek Vijay Kumar, helping me out in this YouTube live. So pharmacovigilance is typically one of the process in the life where we need to understand that drugs we use in our whole life, medicines. What is the drug discovery process? You have targets, you have molecular studies, toxicity studies, and particularly you have certainly various data regarding the carcinogenicity, genotoxicity, and safety profiling into the tissues and at the cellular level. And then you have the pharmacophore lead compound optimization into the animals, into the healthy volunteers, into the diseased subjects, and then we get a drug approval. So in this whole process of preclinical to clinical paradigm shift, we are going with the pharmacology, chemistry, quality assurance, regulatory affairs, pharmaceutical chemistry, quality assurance, regulatory affairs, biostats, pharmacy practice. So in this whole process of IND to NDA and ANDA and CANDA, you know about the trials where you take in phase 0 microdosing, phase animals, in phase 1 healthy volunteers, in phase 2 disease subject, and in phase 3 and phase 4 marketing authorization, audit, etc. comes, and hence submission to the World Intellectual Property Organization, and molecule is approved. So worldwide marketing authorizations comes where the regulatory agencies like CDSC or India gives approval to a molecule. If you see the whole journey of a preparation or a clinical research of a medicine, you will find that in every part, structural activity, chemistry, pharmacokinetic dynamic chemistry, ecology, practice, safety profiling, quality assurance, designing, pharmaceutical analysis, in vivo, in vitro activity, industrial pharmacy. Every subject is applied at various levels, like pharmacology, immunology, physical chemistry, immunology, behavior, pathology, safety assessment, metabolism, biochemistry, design, and particularly biochemistry. So particularly you see that in whole process where the IPO, patents, everything is embedded, physiology is one of the important things. And in the physiology section, uh, very important thing is the safety consideration. And the past unsafe human experimentation like Book of Daniel, Hippocratic Oath, Avicenna, Canon of Medicine, where the scriptures are written in Urdu. Then Ambrose Paré did first clinical trial. James Lancer is considered as father of clinical research. Arrival of placebo in 1887 Institute, National Institute of Health, world's biggest funding organization, established 1906. FDA Pure Food and Drugs Act 1928, Sir Alexander Fleming accidental discovery 1932 to 72, the 40-year-old Tuskegee sickness studies, Alexander sulfonamide disaster in the 1937, FDA Cosmetics Act 1938, 1939 to 45, World War II, the colonization era where the 23 members were there, experimentation on twins, bone cellular transplantation experiments, head injury experiments, breathing experiments, malaria experiments, immunogenicity experiments, sulfonamide experiments, seawater experiments, sterilization experiments, mustard gas experiments, experiments with the poisons. So if you see this whole timeline of the clinical research, you will find that there was no ethical basis, no informed consent, no biomedical care. And Stanford Prison Experiment and Monster Study, Project 4, Skin Study, this experiment. And these are the list of the experiments conducted by the Nazis with experimentation on boners. So where there was no scientific hypothesis and the human harm was more again into this constitution of the clinical research timeline, high altitude experiment, blood coagulation experiments, then the discovery of opium, then Coca drink, Coca-Cola by John Petherton. He was a soldier in the U.S. Army in the American Civil War and got wounded in the 1865 in the month of April. And he was prescribed to morphine, soon get addicted towards this morphine. And then again, this was as prohibited or contraindicated because it was containing alcohol in the year 1886. And then it was replaced by wine with sugary syrup named Coca-Cola. Carelessness sometimes leads to discovery like Alexander Fleming in the 1928, 1944 trials, 1974 human remains, 1940. The Numberberg Code. After the World War II, 1939 to 49, the Nazism era, the German Nazi Party, 23 members were punished with this Numberberg Code. And in the Numberberg Code, particularly the informed consent and the biomedical ethics, beneficence for the person's honorarium, etc. was consulted. Then in 1951, Hela cells and Ritalex, which contributed on her name for the cells which are used in the vaccines, first polio vaccines in 1950s. The Declaration of Helsinki, the Helsinki in particular, this term was Helsinki is a particular, I would say that term which is used after the thalidomide disaster. So Helsinki is a city of Japan where first World Medical Health Assembly was organized. So after the thalidomide disaster, this came up as a very wholesome, purposeful act of the molecule. We understand that this concept is really important. So why I'm telling this thing to you guys is like you need to understand that was going with this certain kind of determination. We need to understand that thalidomide was the biggest human massacre in the history till date. Into it, a lot of peoples were affected, and the reason was this only that there was no clear indication for uses of medicine into the human beings, and there was a lot of challenges, a lot of problems was included over there. Okay, so that's the reason why this problem occurred. So for that specific reason only, we need to think of that. Yes, at a common level, the Declaration of Helsinki is very important. So, at a common level, all these timelines of the clinical research, Declaration of Helsinki, Alexander Fleming, John Petherton, all the things in this whole process, we need to see that the common rule, MedWatch, ICH guidelines, good clinical practices guidelines by WHO. So, this is a particular case where you can see that a specific level of timeline of clinical research is particularly maintained. And in this case, you need to understand that some achievements and milestones were there. And in this achievements and milestones, certainly there was some kind of natural law of medicine evolution. Okay, so when it comes to the pharmacovigilance, we know to understand that the science of gaining stories of drug recalls or drug safety is called as pharmacovigilance. So after the thalidomide disaster, the medicine civilizations comes up, and into the medicine civilization, particularly this four industrial revolution came up, and in this four industrial revolution, we need to come to know that yes, we are going to civilize the medicine because safety, quality, efficacy is our particular job role, where we need to understand that the molecule should be safe enough. Okay, so that was the reason for the indication for the workflow of safety of medicines. So in the hospital, there are various departments concentrating from head to toe: neurology, nephrology, urology, cardiology, respiratory, gynae, obstetrics, nephrology, and many more. Okay, so we need to see that pediatrics, oncopulmonary surgery, physiology, parasitology, ophthalmo, hemato examinations, all are concentrated at a level. What is my point of connection over here is to understand to you guys is that if we are going with the safety indexing of a molecule, we need to understand that the branch of study of ADRs, adverse drug reaction, is called as pharmacovigilance, whereas the philosophy of pharmacy, where we have pharmacoeconomics, pharmacovigilance, patient care, health care, health promotion, efficacy, assurance, health information. So at every point, you need to know that drug therapy, you know, knowledge of disease, you know, communication skill, you know, patient monitoring skill, you know, physical assessment, taking case history, drug information, therapeutic planning, etc. are the part of drug therapy. So my direct way question is, are drugs safe? Like amiodarone induce photosensitivity. Amiodarone, severe exacerbation of this amiodarone infusion. NSAIDs induced ulcers, peptic ulcer disease, goiter, hypothyroidism, which is secondary to amiodarone, bleeding due to anticoagulations, or erythrodermal rash in the patients with a previous known allergy. So every country is having a typical mindset of a particular case, which is called as the regulatory authorities, and every country do have their regulatory authority. So India is having the regulatory authority, CDSCO, Central Drug Standard Control Organization, whomsoever take care of the molecules and the safety precautions in particularly India. So this is one of the thing which we should know that why this particularly CDSCO is working on this. Okay, so CDSCO, European Medicine Agency, EMA, US is having US FDA, United Kingdom is having MHRA, Ministry of Institute and Health Care, Medicines and Healthcare Products Regulatory Agencies. Australia is having TGA, Therapeutics and Goods Administration. Canada is having Health Canada. China is having State Food and Drugs Administration. Denmark is having Danish Medicine Academy. Okay, and in particular, Switzerland is having Swissmedic, Japan Ministry of Health and Labor and Welfare, Germany Federal Institute for Drugs and Medical Devices, Brazil is Agencia National de Vigilância Sanitária, then New Zealand is MedSafe, Medicines and Medical Devices Safety Authority, then Medicine Products Agency, Sweden, Netherlands Medicines Evaluation Boards, Ireland, Irish Medicines Board, then Italy, Italian Pharmaceutical Agency, South Africa Medicines Control Council. So particularly every country are having their roles in which particularly the things are concentrated. So at a particular level, we need to understand that this is the civilization of the medicine, where every country, Singapore, Thailand, all are having their regulatory authority. So this, when it comes to the medical inputs, you need to understand that medical inputs and medical outputs, pharmacist plays a major role to build the bridge of the patient safety, but it is not seen somehow. So we need to understand that medicine safety is not for our concern, but for also individual concerns in the life to take the medicines at a level where the medicines are required in a tonic clonic manner. So we need to understand that whensoever we are looking after the medicines, our intention is to clarify that yes, the molecules are safe. So this is a relationship between a physician and a pharmacist. You can see drug prescriber is particularly having a level of care where the things are exaggerated, but a physician and a pharmacist, this casual relationship between both, in one is dominant and another one is not. If we talk about the food of the pharmacist, you can see it will look like very colorful, very enjoyable, but when we talk about the specialty is not there. So the pharmacist puts looks special but actually not. Okay, so similarly we need to understand that in a certain case, if we talk about the physician foods, it looks doesn't look special, but it is having specialty. It looks simple but it's special. So specialty is the concern of the physician, where in a teamwork we work with the nursing staffs, physios, pharmacists, nursing dietitians, etc. And this teamwork leads to safety of each other as well as the patients. Coming to the very renowned case study of thalidomide, Koffler and Murray started it into the market, and particularly Ciba Pharmaceuticals, Swiss pharmaceutical company in the year 1953, produced and marketed it. And in the 1956, German company Camigromtal, 57 approved as OTC in the Germany. So this was a thalidomide was a wonder drug which used to be removing the morning sickness in the pregnant and the lactating woman. And particularly soon it became very famous in 40 countries, and it was sold as over the counter product, and which resulted into 10 to 20,000 newborns with phocomelia. Phocomelia is upper and the lower limbs were malformed, and the signs of birth defects is called as congenital anomaly, and that leads to the withdrawal of this particular molecule from the market. And this disaster, as you can see the chronicity level inside it, and this level is specifically at a concentrated level coming up with the problem. So this level concentrated with the history of thalidomide disaster, around 10,000 children were born with the phocomelia characteristics. This molecule was first marketed in 1957 in West Germany, and this German drug company developed and got. So if certain kind of people's producing medicine selling and the quality of life is diminished totally. Let's go into more brief into this study of the mankind trauma, where Frances Oldham Castley, the drug detective, the FDA commissioner, soon she became of United States of America. This molecule was not approved in the United States of America, and so certainly in US the peoples were not affected by it. And this is how, after the birth defects museum was established in the some country, and you can see that how the birth defects children looks like, whether premature or overgrowth or defects due to the molecule may occur. So in certain cases we need to understand, we need to see that particularly this the compositional level and the problems which occurs during the birth defects, and certainly the diminished quality of life. Nobody want to have his or her child likewise in a state of uh, undevelopment or maldevelopment, or this is somehow the human genocide takes place. So this is some of the pictures from the gallery of the disaster of the birth defects, the science, the place, the medicine which caused the level. So gradually this thalidomide was reintroduced in the market as particularly for the indication of leprous erytheromatous, leprosy, after only couple of years. So for that, artificial arms, bionic arms by England in the 1964 also was produced as a medical. So you see, whenever the molecules since independence in India, every molecule are under watched and certainly got risked and withdrawn from the market. Several drugs have been recalled by Foods and Drugs Administration. Like certainly we have ranitidine last month, and thalidomide, pratolol, fenformin, rofecoxib, varalipride, rostiglitazone, etc. So pharmacovigilance cycle is like concentrating with the adverse events, adverse drug reactions. Once a molecule is administered, if any adverse drug event takes place, we need to see, we need to look after the cases where we need to understand that if certain kind of problem is happening, we should not at a concentrated level understand that this is the problem. So based on to the pharmacovigilance program of India and literature available, we classify the event into adverse event or side effect or adverse drug reaction, which is unnoxious, unintended. So the classification A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, U. Augmented bizarre chemical delayed exit familial genotoxicity, hypersensitivity, and unclassified. For augmented reactions, which are known for the pharmacological action of the drug depending upon the daily defined dose, like anticoagulants caused bleeding or beta blockers caused bradycardia, nitrates caused headache, so gene for postural hypertension. For bizarre reaction like anaphylaxis due to penicillin and hypersensitivity due to anticonvulsants. Then type C chemical reactions, paracetamol induced hepatotoxicity. Delayed reactions like phenantine during pregnancy may increase the chances of teratogenicity, and analgesics use leads to the nephropathy. And of treatment like phenytoin withdrawal leads to seizures and steroid withdrawal leads to adrenocortical insufficiency. So minor, major, moderate ADS and drowsiness, dryness of mouth, etc. The side effects. Somehow tetracyclines, secondary effects like you might have seen this discoloration of teeth. Some toxic effects do also takes place like barbiturates use may leads to coma, digoxin, complete AV block in case of cardiac, etc. So there are a lot of examples of this anaphylactic action, which is a part of allergy, photosensitivity, drug dependence, etc. So since teratogenetic effects in case of thalidomide disaster and various medicines which leads to the teratogenicity, here is one of the thing which can at concentrated level may be affected in the peoples. That is, we need to understand that in our life, whensoever we are using some molecule, we should know what that molecule is in general. And if particularly we are not knowing that thing, that may lead to some problems. So teratogenicity, mutagenicity, carcinogenicity, like ranitidine was banned due to it was having NDMA and carcinogen, cancer causing agent, and due to that purpose only the particular withdrawal from the market took place. And drug-induced diseases like NSAID-induced ulcers or salicylate corticosteroids peptic ulcers, or if you go with the ethambutol used optic neuritis, or certainly multi-drug resistance, NSAID-induced ulcers, etc. So there are methods of post-marketing surveillance, and in this methods particularly you have various methods like CAM, spontaneous reporting, electronic health record mining, intensified ADR reporting, record linkage, targeted reporting. So what happens in the job role when you go for the pharmaco vigilance, you need to understand that when you go for in a particular case, we need to understand that once a molecule is administered, you understand that it may cause some action. The action is not reported since public and private agencies are working onto it. So for job roles as a student in pharmacovigilance, you should know WPM words per minute. So your typing speed should be like 45 minutes per minute.
So if you see clearly on your keyboard of the laptop, F and J keys are having some signs for hand positioning. So the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog is a sentence of English where you will find all the alphabets of the English. So your hand-eye coordination and W per PM, that is words per minute, should be clear up. Methods of surveillance into it, you have said this all methods, spontaneous reporting. When it comes to the reporting, India is having a suspected ADR reporting form like 1.4. United Kingdom is having yellow card, Australia blue card, US is having med watch, and particularly black box for United States of America. So in the United Kingdom, this yellow box is used in the fame of yellow. So you might have seen a football match. In the football, referee shows a yellow card first of all. So that is a primary signal indication to a player that you have committed a first mistake. And afterwards, you can go particularly for the case of another correction into second, and the second proportion is particularly your this one, which is called as the exact section, which is called as red card in the football match. So typically you need to understand, you need to see that some problems may be there. Okay, so what I mean to say over here to you guys is United Kingdom is having a system of yellow card for suspected drugs, whereas you can give the suspect reaction, patient sociodomographic status, reporter details, spontaneous reporting, advantages, disadvantages, and the classification already I told, like augmented, bizarre, chronic, delayed use of etc. So from this medications, you come with the medications targeted reporting, medicine related problems, specific clinical uh, symptoms, etc. So cohort event monitoring, a population place where you can go, and these are the various methods. So Uppsala Monitoring Center is also providing for cohort event monitoring. CamFlow is the database, whereas we report in world right now with the Vigiflow database. So pharmacovigilance of herbal drugs also takes place because in our home we used to take the uh, food also and fruits. So they are the example of some herbal drugs. So that is called as herbovigilance, and Ayush, Ayurveda, Unani, Siddha, Homeopathic under the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare are working onto it. So what is the particular safety profiling toxicity of the herbal drugs? Around incidents in 1991 and 92 in Brussels, Belgium, in which 15 to 30 women treated with a Chinese herbal slimming preparation died from renal failure caused by the presence of arterioscolic acid in it, and that can be into account. So the important on controlling the current identification of the herbal molecules is also important, like ginkgo biloba is causing bleeding, Saint John wort, GI disturbances, allergic reactions, ephedra leads to insomnia, hypertension, dysarrhythmias, nervousness, tremor, headache, etc. Kava leads to sedation, oral, lingual dyskinesia, etc. So the problem is with the herbal drugs are the quality assurance in particular. So we need to understand, we need to see that we are the one who are taking care for this herbal drug interactions. So contamination problems with herbal products, pharmaceutical forms are also one of the concerns where we need to check, where we need to see. So in particular, there are challenges of monitoring the safety of herbal medicines, like regulations, like quality assurance, like safety monitoring of herbal drugs is a major concern. Recording, coding the identity of the herbal medicine. So WHO is running an international drug program for pharmacovigilance, and they are reporting the national coordinating centers for this also. So in India, currently National Coordinating Center, then the ADR monitoring centers, and the peripheral pharmacovigilance centers. In world, there are 195 nations. Uppsala Monitoring Center, Sweden. So if we go to the history of pharmacovigilance, it started in 1848, and Lancet published this notification on side effects caused by anesthesia. Then FDA Pure Act came in 1906. So pharmacovigilance process, if we go with the good pharmacovigilance practices given by European Medicine Agency and European Union. So in particular in Europe for the use of medicine, or in particular case of EDURA Vigilance, which is a vaccine vigilance program run by European Union, is a top class structure. So in this, we go with various designs of spontaneous reporting, data mining, electric multi-item gamma positioning, intensive monitoring, etc. Database studies, Pharmo, etc. are the one. Then we have the casualty assessment with Naranjo scale, Hartwig, Karch, Lasanga, ADR reporting form, and yellow card scheme in United. Whereas in India, first of all, PBPI pharmacovigilance program of India started in the year 2004. So Ambumani Ramdas was the health minister, and later on it was closed due to some unavoidable circumstances and reason. In 2010, it was started again under the leadership of Ghulam Nabi Azad was the health minister at that time. From since that time to till time, 15 years have been finished, and this is going on a continuous mode. Okay, so it is rapidly going on under the leadership of Dr. V. Kalai Selvan, Principal Scientific Officer IPC in PVPI. So CDSCO, DCGI, and IPC all taking together the care of ADR reporting as ICSRs in India, where we need to support the CDSCO, so steering committee and strategic advisory committee is there. So pharmacovigilance means drug safety, where patient care, public health, risk, benefit, issue, and communication takes place. These are the medicine problems since 1961. Different type of ADRs are the requirement of the day, because we need to have the mankind concern and the humanitarian concern, and this should not go. So there is a NCC, there is a ICSR reporting format, national database called as Vigiflow, which is not national, it is international, and every country in the world is using Vigiflow to report the individual case safety reports. So till now in the PVPI there are signal detections around 15 to 16 signal detections, and product information leaflets and product updates inserts around 110 have been given by the PVPI, where everyone like doctor, medical staff, and medical representative, regulatory bodies, and the hemovigilance, material vigilance program of India, cosmetovigilance, biovigilance, servovigilance, pharmacovigilance, every route is working in collection of ICSR entry into the databases, where a coordinator and a deputy coordinator is assigned. Then it goes to the National Coordinating Center. From the National Coordinating Center, it goes to the CDSCO, and from CDSCO to the Monitoring Center. So this is a communication. India is divided into 5 zones: northeast, west, south, and the central zones, where the AMCs, around 1000 AMCs, are currently working in India, and they are working day and night to report this ADR under the casualty assessment, Kachilla Sangha, Naranjo School, and via this Vigiflow, they are reporting this periodic safety update reports and individual case safety reports in particular, to understand the value of this particular case. So this PSVR updates, and particularly going on with the sessions. So aggregate reporting and PVPI, I already told you, working in the CDSCO with the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, where the zonal north, south, east, west offices stock holding by the Medical Council, National Medical Commission, pharma industries. As per the new clinical trial rule 2019, everybody in the industry have to put one kind of a pharmacovigilance center. So National Coordinating Center, NCC, Zonal Pharmacovigilance Center, North and South, and the Hemovigilance Program, Peripheral Pharmacovigilance Center are there. So extension is going on, and day by day you find such kind of pharmacovigilance techniques nowadays: herbal drugs, herbovigilance, blood-related products and ADR, hemovigilance, medical devices and medical-related problems, so particularly Material Vigilance Program of India, Vidura Vigilance for vaccine vigilance, biovigilance for the peoples, and this is the website of PVPI, Pharmacovigilance Program of India. You can go, you can see, you can report the ADR over here on Pharmacovigilance Program of India. It's the website of CDSCO. And like ranitidine, you got that ranitidine was having this NDMA, and it was reported way back 5 years back or 6 years back, 13 September 2019. So it had an NDMA impurity, and see, US FDA announced this just 13th September 2019, 10 days after India particularly announced this. So afterwards, a notification came after a couple of months by US FDA that ranitidine is safe enough amount of NDMA levels what we put in the food. But after 5 or 6 years, that was so. Then in this 5 or 6 years, this ranitidine has given a market to a cancer. So that is how we need to understand that certainly some molecules presence in the market may also create this kind of activity which leads to the problem in the future. So monitoring body, every part of the world, US, UK, European Union, Australia, Sweden, EGA, they have established this yellow card scheme like you can see on your screen. This particularly referee is showing a yellow card to a football player, and this is a particular case of understanding that the particular case of first warning to the player, and if he commits a second mistake, the red card will be shown. And same way, if you go with the yellow card, you can see this one. This is by MHRA. In the United Kingdom, this is specifically used for the suspected side effects from medicines or adverse incidents with medical devices, defective medicines, or counterfeit medicines, side effects or safety concerns for e-cigarettes also may take place. So this is one of the concerns you need to understand, that patient safety is one of the biggest tasks nowadays in the world. So MHRA, such kind of form is available, which where you have to give. And this is why I'm telling you guys, because being as a healthcare professionals, you need to understand what are the various regulatory steps and forms and assurance are going on in the world. Then comes up is the black box warning, and this black box warning is particularly for the United States of America. So you can see a label, where a label inside a label, this black box where a dose is written, and this dose particularly connects, tells that this is one thing which is leading with the one clause, one thing which is responsible. The dose is written into the black box like 50 mg, or you can see in the top for Seroquel XR, quetiapine fumarate. Okay, in India, what happens in India? There is a red line for H1 and H prescription medications. So that is a indicator that medicines you should not use. So this is the things which happens in India, in particular for treatment medical of narcotics, psychotropics, substance. So this is given by Ministry of Health and Family Welfare as an indication that we should look for the red line for the responsible use of the medicine. So this is the rise of the pharmacovigilance, and certain area reporting form, like you find a statutory warning on the cigarette packet also. If you watch to go movie and then front part only, starting point only, you will see on the front screen the ad of side effects of nicotine. So let me tell you example of signal detection also. When you go with the area reporting form 4.0, you have a potent vasodilator minoxidil, and minoxidil is a potent antihypertensive molecule. The problem with the minoxidil is hirsutism, and hirsutism means excessive hair growth, which is a very bad thing all over the body if you are having this kind of hairs. Okay, so what happens? This was a negative effect of minoxidil. Scientists get up with the problems in Bollywood. Also, there are several pictures have been made on the this hairless Santvana, or the problem with the baldness, so alopecia. So they prepare the minoxidil topical solutions for hair restoring in the beta follicle of the hairs. This minoxidil can be put it up. So sometimes some negative effect of the drugs can be also changed into the positive one. So similarly, these adverse drug reactions, predictor unpredictable, secondary pharmacological effects, idiosyncratic effects, etc. can be run out. So first of all, you need to assure that why we need pharmacovigilance, because after laboratory animal research, husbandry research, phase 1, phase 2 studies, with the audit, with the inspection, new drug application. Since clinical trial application is done, clinical trial registry of India is done, and we are going with the biological license of the molecule, at that particular time, we need to understand that the molecules are as important, as significant for the purpose of understanding of safety. So after post several molecules which may harm, we need to understand. So these are the various initiative by WHO's limitations. Also, every year medicines comes, goes. There are some problem with foods also, like Maggie. Maggie was containing lead. So every country, either it is Middle East, everybody had faced the consequences of problems of the molecule. And then comes up the top 10 contributors of WHO databases who are particularly contributing more. India is among top 10. It is very important for the citizens to report the areas in their nations for the safe nation practices. If any yellow card scheme, black box scheme, or red line scheme, everyone can report these areas, either it is patients, healthcare professionals, dentists, physiotherapists, pharmacists, radiographers, nursing manufacturers, etc. Any regulatory authority, industry, manufacturer, health professionals, patient organizations, general public, social security, etc. Cumulative reports as of April 2014, we need to understand how likely is this medication is going to create a problem. So we need to go for the causality assessment with Naranjo scale, WHO assessment scale, Kasang, large and Karch and Lasanga scale, etc. are the various scales. And when we go with the certain case, we come to a point that causality assessment for chronicity is very important. So in pharmacovigilance, monitoring, detection, reporting, and particularly understanding the value in various countries where the medicine safety are at very lowest level, we need to understand each country should develop this program. A successfully implemented pharmacovigilance center can minimize, prevent, improve the use of medicines. And particularly, these are the list of the medicines which are banned from 1950 to 2008, like lysergic acid, diethylamide, thalidomide. Then this is stilbantine, then fenformin hydrochloride, then gimlidine, phenacetin, metacolone, nofisapine, triazolam, tarodeline, tamoxifene, penicillin, eskinai ointment, tetracycline liquid oral preparations, amlodipine, suprophane, nialamide, prectolol, methapyrilene, methacolone, muzolimine, nicotinamide, sulfacarbamide, etretinate, exiphone, L-tryptophan, proglumide, dilvialol, dinoprostone, phenoterol, ibuprofen, incainide, fipexide, terodeline, triazolam, temofloxacin, bendajac, menoplex, ketorolac, moxicillate, demoxypride, sorivudine, ipobutabarbital, anaxyl, rancupal, neoprapine, tolrestat, and various more things. Which comes up, we need to understand that particular, we will see with this kind, fenfluramine, pamolene, terfenadine, bromphenic. I am getting comment on my YouTube live that, sir, today is the India match in the Asia Cup by Anuj Misra, and the toss is on 7:30. So, sir, please finish this YouTube live soon. So, no doubt, Anuj, I will try to finish very soon. Thank you for your comment. Brotidine and mifepredil, broxybarbal, certinindole, Esmar, Survector, Aminopyron, Hesmanalal, Rexar, Arganamisol, Rotacild, Temazepam, Provan, Lotronex, Proplacid, Propagest, Reguline, Normilfo, Bacol, Raplon, Sparfloxacin, Kava, levomethylate acetate, then this bajritamide, oproxamol, dofilitilide, then roficoxib, valdicoxib, aldrala hydromorphone, Israbri, etoxafloxacin, getifloxacin, Atixa, clobetanol, lumicracoxib, nifazodone, perglolite, aerosolol, Acamplia, Reptivia, Darvocet, Miloturg, ojogamicin, rosiglitazone, dibutramine, rituxanthan, gyrase, tetragypum, fluoxetine, and this is the slide which I want to particularly show you to you guys is that see the some personal responsibilities also reported in trial with the FD officer of China Beijing faced intermediate court interrogation in the year 2007 was taking bribes for enabling approvals for unsafe medicine products which was executed on July 2007. So this is very unethical thing. Then the compensation in the clinical trials on the pharmacovigilance, Indian government on 15 December 2014 gave the guidelines particularly, and this guidelines states that what are the Indian compensation particularly guidelines for the purpose of compensation. So we need to show you that particularly some rashes, some damage, or some phocomelia, permanent disability in the organ, or change in the anatomical structure. So at that time, you have to give particularly compensation. Any injury, life-threatening condition, medical disaster, or metabolic dysfunction. So compensation or honorarium, we need to understand CO, OECD, GCP, ICH, ICMR, Drugs and Cosmetics Acts, Pharmacovigilance Program of India. Everybody is concentrated with this one. So into this compensation, there are 12 factor F1 to F level, and the factor comprises with 0.5 to 4, where we need to see that a fixed amount to be given to a patient. And so the base price of the body is 4 lakhs and the maximum is 73.2 lakhs. And in particularly in this case, a Johnson's and Johnson's baby powder case, where you need to understand that compensation has to be given. And in case of serious adverse event, we need to give. So compensation formula is this, and that compensation has to be provided to the person who got a problem. So compensation also as well as honorarium. Honorarium is given in case when the person completes the clinical trial. So they gave this compensation guidelines and particularly the formulas for congenital anomaly or some serious adverse effects and problems. So drugs withdrawn from market, signal detection is another thing. In pharmacovigilance, if any effect comes up, either it is positive one, negative one, that all comes under the category of signal detection. And that signal detection may harm also, may give good advantages also. Suppose if any molecule is causing cancer, all right, so this may be very good effective in inducing the cancer in the animals for the clinical trial purpose and clinical research purpose. So that is how this we need to understand that the regulatory authority, healthcare professionals have to do. So this will be able to study the cancers. Okay, so signal management process, privatization, validation, evaluation, and recommendation. Either the molecule should be stopped from the market or not. So this is a base and theory model for particularly in signal detection, where the ADR is reported to VG-Flow, then it goes to VG database, signal detection process based in theory, signal analysis, expert panel, signal generation, communication, action, either may be contraindicating the molecule because it may be creating the ADR. So particularly Avendia, one of the famous brand name, particularly for rosiglitazone, thiazolidines group anti-diabetic category was withdrawn with certain kind of problems. So my dear students, just what I want to tell to you guys is pharmacovigilance is not only for studying into your syllabus as a part, but this is also one of the special thing you need to understand, you need to see. And PVPI WHO is particularly doing pan world this area reporting program is going. Next is hemovigilance and materiovigilance. Hemovigilance is blood related ADRs and materiovigilance is medical devices. So survival strategies, transfusion traceabilities, where the donor transfusion is there. So HBPI started in 2016 in India under the leadership of Dr. V. Kalai Silvan sir, and it's going on tremendously, where we need to see this. And next is the medical devices, where the like you might have heard pacemakers and various other things like copper-tree inhibitor and devices, insufflator, etc. are widely used. So this is also one example where medical devices industry material vigilance is particularly going to be. And currently in PVPI, like NFI, Indian Pharmacopoeia, PVPI are going on. So pharmacovigilance is, you understand, detection, assessment, understanding, prevention, and you can report at your level. Toll-free number is given by Pharmacovigilance Program of India, and particularly all the national coordinating centers, ADR monitoring centers all over India are working day and night. And this is the 2020 status. Now in India, we are reporting like 1 lakh ICSRs, around 40 to 50,000 per month. And it's a major concern, available on all vernacular languages for COVID vaccines, adverse events also for healthcare professionals, for consumer, for common mans also. There are various channels and platforms to report ADRs, like by app, like by helpline, ADR monitoring center reporting forms. So there are 1000 AMC till date now, and till that 12 signal detections have been detected by PVPI till now. 109 drug alerts, 55 packaging updates have been done. And in acts and rules, pharmacovigilance, particularly new drugs and clinical trials through 2019, and PVPI resource materials, PVPI communications with WHO, press communiques, training and skill development program. So we should be thankful to the Pharmacovigilance Program of India and PVPI and IPC and CDSO for taking this as a national program of concern in terms of drug safety. So ADR, hospitalized patients, and there is study withdrawal drugs. Every year, certain molecules are being in a condition where they are reported, they are banned, they are concentrated level got out of the market. So this is what all things goes up. If we talk about pharmacovigilance, it will take a number of times. So what we need to understand is that we are the sole responsible peoples for ADR reporting. And this is all for today. And if any questions are there in the chat box, uh, I would like to ask Abhishek to ask if any questions are there. Questions? The questions? The questions are there by the audience. Okay, fine. So thank you so much, all of you, for joining today this YouTube live. And definitely in the upcoming days, we are coming with the National Pharmacovigilance Week from starting from 17th of September. So I am thankful to you, Dr. Abhishek, for this YouTube live, and all the participants, particularly for joining on this eve. So thank you so much.